Imagine this. You walk into a room where no one knows your name, your background, or your story. They don't know your wins or your losses. And yet, the moment you step in, the mood shifts. People quiet down. Eyes land on you. The energy changes. You haven't said a word, but judgment is already in the air. It's fast, it's silent, and it's final. In less than 10 seconds, people decide what kind of person you are. They either elevate you or ignore you. And you haven't even opened your mouth. Feel that weight between your shoulders? That subtle pressure? That's the reality of being seen before you've had a chance to explain yourself. Now, what if I told you that you could control that judgment? That many people who've dismissed you didn't do it because of who you are, but because of something you unknowingly projected, the way you walked in, the space you took, the silence you held, or didn't. Here's the twist. You do the same thing. You size people up instantly. You file them into categories. You judge. We all do. So, how many chances have you missed by judging someone too soon? And how many judged you before ever giving you a shot? Still, you keep walking into rooms unaware that you're already in a game, one with no rules, where every tiny move you make can either open a door or close it. But now, imagine something different. Imagine being in full control of your first impression. Every look, every step, every pause, intentional. No more hoping for a good day or natural confidence, just certainty. You walk into any space and people know you're the one who runs the conversation before you even speak. You don't raise your voice to command respect. You simply walk in and no one dares to underestimate you. Here's the truth no one likes to admit. The world won't wait for your explanation. It sizes you up immediately. And if you don't shape those first seconds, they'll shape you. And this isn't some new trick. This type of silent reading of people has existed forever. Some stumble through it without knowing. Others master it without ever needing permission. Want to be the latter? You don't need to be loud. You don't need a title. What you do need is an understanding of how people's perceptions work. Because once you do, you're not just another player in the game, you control the board. Now think back to the people who impacted your life most. Do you remember exactly what they said? Or do you remember how they made you feel? Instantly. That's the real power. We forget words. We remember energy, body language, and intention. And you've had that kind of power all along. You just didn't know how to use it. But after this, you won't walk into a room the same way again. Because here's what people won't tell you. It doesn't matter how well you explain yourself. If your presence doesn't match your words, it all feels like you're trying to justify yourself. People don't listen to your words first. They feel your energy. And that energy is shaped before you enter the room. Most people walk into situations thinking, I hope they like me. And they've already lost. Why? Because that mindset gives away power. It's rooted in needing acceptance. That need changes your body language, your tone, your confidence, and people sense it instantly. Now flip that. What if, before walking in, you tell yourself, I observe, I take space, I belong here. That shift in mindset changes everything. You set the tone, you hold the frequency, and people read that. Because it's not just what you say, it's the place inside you where you say it from. Here's another underrated move. Slow down. People who feel unsure move fast, talk fast, walk fast, fidget. But that rush screams insecurity. If you're not comfortable with yourself, others won't be either. Slow movements signal control. Strategic pauses in speech say, I'm not rushed, I'm solid. And in this invisible game, control equals respect. Now, let's talk about the room itself. Every space has an invisible structure, a social layout, and it's not controlled by the loudest person. It's controlled by the one who knows where to be. People with presence choose their spot. They don't hide in corners. They don't hug the wall. They position themselves where they're seen, but without looking needy for attention. That choice? It influences how people subconsciously place you in the social hierarchy. It's subtle, but real. But there's a level even deeper: emotional energy. You can't fake real calm. You can't fake being grounded. That comes from emotional regulation, your internal state. Before you walk into any social situation, pause. Don't rehearse what to say. Center yourself. Focus on your breath. Ground your nervous system. That calm, people feel it. They trust it. They lower their guard around it. And you become the person they instinctively follow, not because you asked, but because your presence says you're solid. Want to go one step further? Take control of the rhythm of the interaction. Most people look for approval. They wait for others to smile first, to signal acceptance. Flip it. You decide when to smile. You decide who to acknowledge. You set the pace. Now you're not trying to fit in. You're deciding who fits in with you. This isn't ego. It's awareness. It's breaking out of the role where you need permission to take up space. Here's the realest part. Nobody is going to save your self-esteem. No one is coming to validate you. That's your job. Presence starts before anyone looks at you, in how you breathe, where your attention is, what you believe about yourself in those first seconds. You ever notice people who seem to have an aura? It's not magic. They just aren't competing. They aren't performing. They're calm within themselves, and that calm is magnetic. Now let's talk about rejection. The biggest difference between people who get noticed and people who get dismissed. It's not looks, not charisma. It's how they deal with the fear of rejection. If you're scared of being judged, you show it in your body, your eyes, your tone, and that fear makes others pull away. It's primal. Humans avoid uncertainty. If you're unsure of yourself, people sense danger and they back off. But when you walk in with nothing to prove, your energy says, I'm not here to please. I'm here as I am. And that's powerful. Let's take it even deeper. Strategic vulnerability. Not oversharing, not looking for sympathy, but showing real humanity on your terms. When you reveal a crack at the right moment, without losing composure, it signals insane confidence. You're saying, I'm strong enough to show you I'm human. But vulnerability only works when it's a choice, not a cry for help. And at the heart of all of this, intention. People can't read your mind, but they feel what's behind your actions. If your energy comes from fear, they'll pick up on it. If it comes from clarity, confidence, and purpose, they'll respect it. That's called vibrational coherence. When your thoughts, feelings, and actions all align. And when they don't, something feels off. Even if people can't explain it, they just don't trust it. But when you walk in fully aligned, that presence is undeniable. Now let's get ruthless. Use tension. Everyone avoids silence. You don't. You use it. You pause. You let others wait. And in that pause, you create curiosity. Power. Most people rush to fill space, but power often lives in the pause. And here's one last concept. Narrative aura. Every person tells a silent story just by existing. Yours might be, I'm confident. I'm desperate to belong. I'm successful. I'm unsure. You don't say it out loud, but people feel it in every move you make. So ask yourself, what story does your presence tell? When your story matches your posture, tone, energy, and intention, people just get it. No need to explain. That kind of presence takes brutal honesty, clarity of identity, and detachment from needing approval. Because the less you depend on how others see you, the more power you have over how they do see you. Here's the final truth. You don't need to be liked. You need to be clear. You need to be unforgettable. Not by being loud, but by being centered. Not by begging for attention, but by embodying intention. because those first few seconds, they've already made their decision. The question is, was it their decision or yours?